what can we do? Is there some actions that we should take to best handle this shift?
Well, first of all, I believe that we're going to become more and more aware of synchronicity in our lives. But we have to wake up every morning. This is a practice. We have to wake up every morning and establish for ourselves not a state of worry or fear or, oh my God, what am I going to do today? But of a waiting for the next synchronistic moment, this next helping moment, which we're guided in some way through life in a way that we can actualize our best dreams and our best calling, the mission that we have to do something to make things better. It's this posture of waiting that is the awareness that slows everything down. If you're waiting on anything, time goes more slowly, right? So you're waiting on the next synchronistic event. And what happens is that in this posture, time slows down, we feel more centered. And we feel like we can listen to the best of our thoughts, which are intuitions and guidances. And if we do that, slow down, take a posture of waiting, time goes slowly enough now that we feel centered, and then wait and actually take advantage in every way we can of contacts with people that appear suddenly, doors that seem to be opening. It's looking and waiting on those events that put us in a position to see them and it actually increases, I believe, that flow just by this expectant waiting that we can get into.
So it's an active waiting.
Active waiting, absolutely. And it builds upon itself. Because this synchronicity will guide us first to clearing ourselves so that we're not manipulating, and will bring us back to a state in which there's no karma. And we can talk about that in a minute, this karma of manipulation. But the key thing to know is that if we wait on the synchronicity, it will guide us through this. We're not all alone with our egos here on this planet. We can be guided toward the better.
But I think it's important to this active waiting, because I think some people might misunderstand or just stay there and wait and do nothing. But here you actually actively, already energetically moving forward and participating in the creation without obsessing either. So there is this balance, right?
That's very well put. That's exactly true. We're waiting, but when we find a synchronicity, a new person mysteriously comes into our lives and it feels like new information, boy, we get that conversation going. We get all the information that we can from any source that seems synchronistic. And it's that pursuit, once we have the synchronicity, that's the balance that you speak of.
So trust is an essential ingredient.
I think so. I mean, it's a knowing that if, and sure, that's trust. That's trust, that's faith, that's openness, that's vulnerability, as you said. But it's about letting go to let it happen, but also doing our part to be there, to follow intuitions. Or if we think of an old friend and then we call and the old friend says, oh my God, I was just thinking about you, which happens to everybody. Those are guiding intuitions to do something. So the balance is wait and watch and be very perceptive, but also to follow these intuitive guidances, to put yourself in a position, to be there when the synchronicity occurs.
So in the moments of a little bit more chaos or when it's a little bit shaky, because we go through different phases as well, as the Maya calendar says, nights and days, how do we recenter ourselves? How do we remind ourselves where we come from?
I think that you do everything possible not to go unconscious or not to go in fear. Put little stickies on your bathroom mirror that says, are you waiting on the next synchronicity? Are you following these thoughts that just come to us? There are two different kinds of thoughts. One are strategic thoughts. What am I going to wear today? Blue, red, green. Other thoughts just come into the back of our mind. Those thoughts are, oh, what about the purple in the other closet? Never even were thinking about that, but it dropped into our minds. Those thoughts that feel like they just drop into our minds, they may seem silly. You know, take a trip to see an old friend, go to the bookstore at lunch, whatever it is. You know, if you think it, the question to ask is, why did I think that now? How does it relate to the questions that I have in life, the solutions I'm looking for? You know, we're guided, and it'll be easier. As Carl says, this energy is coming up. So more and more these kinds of experiences are going to happen to us. It's key to know that they're important, and to then, you know, stay centered, be in this posture of expectant waiting, and let ourselves be guided through life and toward this calling that all of us ultimately will discover.
So that's why you call it the energetic countdown. Is that because the energy is building up?
That's exactly right. That's what it feels like. What it feels like is all of a sudden, you know, there's a sense of inspiration. And it's not just chaotic energy. It's inspiration. The sense that what's happening in our lives is important. Even if it seems challenging, it's important. If we perceive it deeply, then we'll find a silver lining in whatever event is happening, if it seems challenging. And out of that silver lining will be a new clearing and a new access of this spiritual energy that we're talking about.